Hey boys and girls, it's time for math. So what I want you to do right now is to go get your Learn book. I want you to get a dry erase board and a marker and come on back here. If you want to pause this movie or video while you go get what you need, that'll be great. Okay, so I want to remind you before we start that we are skipping lesson 25. I looked at it. I think it's kind of weird. I think it's going to do more damage than good. So we are skipping that. And since I can't be there to teach you and watch you do it and all that stuff. And so we're going to go to lesson 26 in the Learn book. I did not assign the application problem. I said you could skip that. But I know some of you probably looked at it or maybe you tried it anyway. And I just wanted to kind of do a quick rundown. So I won't take a long time on this, but if you were a kid that worked on this, you probably read the problem and thought, what, he worked on his problem or project for 4/3 hours? That's super weird, 4/3 hours. People don't talk like that, do they? So I thought I'd just show you what 4/3 hours looks like. 4/3 is like saying I have 4 1/3. So on a number line, it would look like 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3. There it is, 4/3. And so the whole is here at the 3/3 mark, and then we had 4/3. So he worked on his project for 4/3 hours, and his mom says you have to do 2 more thirds of an hour on it. So it would be like he did 4/3 and mom wants him to do 2/3 more. So that would be a total of 6/3 hours if we were adding up our thirds. And on a number line, it would look like there's 5/3 and here's 6/3 on this point. So 6/3 hours lands on the whole 2. And so the question was, what's the amount of time that Antonio needs to work altogether? It's 2 hours. So he did 4/3, and his mom said do 2/3 more. And so his total is 2 hours. Just in case you, okay, so I can actually even write this, and this is what we're going to learn today. In today's lesson, we could write this not as 6/3, but as 2 whole. So, in case you wanted to see how that one looks. Now, take out your whiteboard. We're going to do some reviewing. Here's mine. Let's see. We'll go pink and purple today. You're going to draw some fractions for me. The sad part is I'm not going to get to see what you draw. So you are on your honor to show me that you can do it. All right, we're going to start by drawing some shapes. I want you to draw 2 squares side by side. Sorry about the pounding, Andy's working on his car. Try to make them be sort of the same size. It doesn't have to be perfect. So if I told you to split this one in half, the first one in half, what would it look like? You can always pause my video and do the thing. So if we split it in half, maybe we go like this, and we could shade a half. Maybe you did it another way, but this is how I did it. Now on the one that's next to it, I want you to show me what 2/4 would look like shaded. Okay, so maybe you did 4ths because the denominator tells you how many parts and the numerator tells you, in this case, I'm asking you to shade 2 out of 4 parts. So what we've done here is we've just quickly reviewed. These are equivalent fractions, right? Eraser. Whoa. Let's do another one. This time I want you to do 2 rectangles kind of on top of each other like this, okay? And on the first one, I want you to show me 1/5 shaded. 1/5 shaded. So you go ahead and do that. 1/5 shaded. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, it's not perfect, but it's close enough. So if I'm going to shade 1/5, there's my 1/5 shade. Now on the bottom, I want you to show me 2/10, but this time, please watch. Please watch what I do. So I can see that tenths is going to be just twice as many fifths. So I'm going to start by doing fifths. I kind of looked at the lines above and just made fifths. And then I know, well, if I want tenths, I just need to double it. So I just split these all in half. And so now I have 1/10, 2/10, and my eyes tell me that I just built an equivalent fraction with my model. 1/5 equals 2/10, and that's absolutely true. 2/10 equals 1/5. Okay, last one. I'll just do a different color region. We're doing this as review because we haven't done it in a while, and it's just really important that you have a good understanding of being able to visualize these fractions and practice making them too. So make 2 circles, and we're going to do thirds. So I like to do my thirds like this. Let's shade 1/3. So 1 part out of 3. 1 part out of 3. And over here we are going to shade sixths. And I'm going to ask you to shade 2 parts out of 6. Now let's start by thirds. If you want to pause and do it your own way, that's fine. So 6 is like my thirds are split so that there's twice as many. So I can make sixths by splitting my thirds in half. And if I shade 2 sixths, 1 sixth, 2 sixths, my eyes can see that, yep, 1/3 is equivalent to 2 sixths. And if we want to extend the learning one step further, what would happen, kids, if I split my sixths in half? Now how many parts total do I have? Well, now I have 12ths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And now I have 4 12ths shaded. So 1/3 is equivalent to 2 sixths, which is equivalent to 4 12ths. Whoa! I mean, we could keep going, but I'm not gonna. But we could if I wanted. All right. Thank you for reviewing with me. If we were together in class, you would have done that with me at the carpet on whiteboards, and I just realized we've been missing a lot of that little bit of review. So we got to try to figure out how to do it with e-learning too, don't we? Okay. So for your new stuff today, I'm going to pull out something I made for you yesterday. Yesterday I taught you that you can write the whole as a fraction. So 1 whole could be written as 2 halves or 2/2. And you saw that that equals 4/4 in this example. But this big idea that the whole doesn't always have to be written as 1, you can also write it as, here, I'll do a quick one for you. I'll do thirds because those are fast. Whoops. They're fast when they do it right. We learned that one whole could be written as 3/3. That was the big idea yesterday. And vice versa, 3/3 equals 1. So today we're doing the same kind of thing, except for we're graduating from just using 1. We are graduating into using other whole numbers too. So if you liked yesterday's lesson and you understood that 3/3 equals 1, then you are going to love what we are doing today. Let me get my pages ready here. Okay. Maybe I'll just use the whiteboard. Let's start with halves. Yesterday, you saw me put 2 halves in the whole, or in the total. Today, I'm going to start with 4 halves. Now, if we want to show the unit fraction fourths, how many fourths is it going to take to make my number bond true? Well, let's do it like this. 1/4 and 1/4 are worth a half. Here's another half, so I'll put 2 more fourths by this half. Here's another half, so I'll put 2 more fourths here. And I still have 1 more. So I kind of connected them so they're by each other. So if we have 4 halves, how many fourths is that worth? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we could say 4 halves is equivalent to 8 fourths. So this might be a stretch for you. If this is overwhelming to you, let me show it to you in another way that you might like better. On number 1. So let's see. Here's 0. And I'll do the halves. So if this is 1, then this is 1/2. And another jump of a half. Well, I guess that would be 2 halves. And let me erase this just for a minute. Here's 3 halves, and here's 4 halves. So you can see them when you jump, right? Jump 1/2. Here's another half, 2 halves, 3 halves, and 4 halves. So if 2 halves equals 1, 2 more halves equals 2. But I also want to show it to you with your fourths. So we were comparing halves and fourths here. In fourths, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Remember, if you've forgotten, fourths just means I'm breaking my whole up into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. But we were going bigger than that, weren't we? Look at all these fourths we had. So I've drawn 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we had 4 more. So this is 4 fourths. Here's 5 of the fourths, 6 of the fourths, 7 fourths, and I made this too big. This 2 is too big. 8 fourths. So this number line might help you understand what looks kind of wild and crazy up here. What we have is a whole That's 2, but it's represented as 4 halves. 4 halves. And what we're seeing is that 4 halves is equivalent to 8 fourths. I'll write it one more time. 4 halves is equivalent to 8 fourths. And some of you have found that connection, that division connection, that a fraction really represents division. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So if you've made that connection, this might not look too hard to you. Okay, so there's your first sneak peek. In your lesson today, I just do one. I know our time is almost up. In your lesson today, you're doing that same thing, but they use some big words in the directions. It says, partition the number line to show the fraction units. Partition the number line to show fractional units? What? Partition just means split it up. And fractional units means fourths, thirds, halves. You actually know what these words mean. You just get confused sometimes. So if they say halves, that means they want you to partition or split the number line into halves. So they tell you what fractional units to use. Okay, so I'm doing this one for you, it looks like. There's 1 half and 2 halves. How far do I have to go? As far as the number line goes. 3 halves and 4 halves. See, I did what it told me. Fractional units. Split up the number line in fractional units. So 0, well, okay, so I didn't actually do this one. I got caught. 0 equals 0 halves or 0. Okay, that wasn't too hard. How about 1? 1 equals 2 halves. Oops, I did it wrong. 1 equals 2 halves, or 2 halves. And now they want us to draw the number bond too. Fine, I can do it. Math is fun. And then over here on this one, 2 equals how many halves? Well, 4 of them. So it equaled 4 halves. And 2 halves here and 2 halves here is equivalent to 4 halves. So this is how they want that to look. I hope this helps you. If you have questions, send me a message. Have fun doing your math.